All right, let's continue here. I said I'd think about this and I did not. So, where are we at? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna write this as a document, as a note, as a comment. Callbacks from wait operation. The state machine already handles exceptions, so we want those callbacks will not grow to us. However, because there may be other use cases for this synchronization context, we may receive callbacks that do grow. As a result, we need to handle those exceptions, or else we will not process subsequent, or else the thread will crash and we will not process subsequent callbacks. It is unfortunate that we cannot communicate back to the provider of the callback that an exception occurred. If this becomes possible at some point, we should do that. Okay, cool. So we can put a placeholder in here now. And what was my note? Exception documentation once this class is done. Move on to dos for the whole file. Great. All right, so to dos. No to dos. Okay. Exceptions. Us, that's not us. That's not us. That's not us. That is us, and we aren't actually doing anything with the exception, so we're good. Oh, hey, maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should expose an exception thing. Something like this callback produced this exception. I think the issue is that the callback instances can be the same sometimes, and even the state might not necessarily disambiguate. Um, and the person writing the method, like the person who wrote the characters await, has no reference to the callback. All right, I think we're good where we're at. Okay. Um, Suppressions. All right, scoping on suppressions. These look good so far. They're as narrowly as scoped as possible. Okay. Cool. All right. Did that. Now line lengths. Last part. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to worry about line lengths for these suppressions. Um, here. Okay. All right. Let's double check that we're doing good on all our test coverage here. So FX and system is what we're testing. Let's just make sure we've got 100% coverage on all that stuff. FX, query context option one. Yes. So I haven't migrated that stuff yet. System only. Okay. System link. Okay. What do I miss in system? Oh. Yeah, this up here also haven't migrated that yet. Maybe I should do that right now. That's a pretty fundamental thing. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do this to-do list over here. Um, yeah, this is all good. This is all good. Yeah, I think I should just, I'll do that soon. Um, yeah, I'll do that after I clean this stuff up, just because this is, calendar V2 is supposed to be for my mental siloing. It's supposed to be sort of stuff that's complete. It's not supposed to be a playground or experiments anymore. So the fact that I've got something in here already that is still not fleshed out, I need to just flush that out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Um, so this whole thing, what should I do? So let's look at the graph calendar events context. So this isn't uh, context. Oh, the event evaluator is the context. No, it's not. Okay. So what am I missing? Query context. I query context. Let's go to uh, implementation. Oh, there's just one implementation. Okay. Got it. And how many implementations of this are there? One. How many implementations of this are there? Also one. Okay. So what I'm trying to decide here is how to provide a public constructor if I make any of that other stuff internal. I know I'm going to because there's the stuff I want to do in the. Let me put this back over here and let me close this. There's stuff I want to do over here. Actually, more like over here. It's like these should be ASTs. I think that's part of what I'm doing is like fleshing that out and making that part of the overall architecture. So um, if I say anything about AST in here, yeah, remove this once you have this whole class and its related types. This whole class is related types of ASTs. This should be modeled as an AST. Yeah, I'm a little bit not consistent in my notes here, but I think what I ended up with is that the structured context should be stuff that is more like CLR types, more like how you just normally program. Um, so not linked lists of nodes and stuff from the parse tree. Um, this one though will be an AST. Like I think that's just for sure. And so it's a matter of yeah. If I write the AST, that's going to be long and tedious. So I don't want to expose that basically. Um, and this stuff, there's a lot here, and it's going to be kind of hard to actually know that I've gotten this right without the full AST. So this I also don't necessarily want to expose. And so um, the graph calendar events evaluator or whatever, whichever one it is, depends on this one. So then it's like, well, should this the constructor in here? Um, yeah, should this be public? If this isn't public, then providing this hasn't actually done anything. Um, like if callers have no way to initialize an instance, then I didn't do anything. I guess what I could do is um, have an internal constructor and then have a public like singleton instance. No, in a public factory method. That's what I want. That then calls the internal constructor, and then I can deprecate the factory whenever I've got everything I need to make the constructor public. Um, I mean, ideally, I won't actually even have to deprecate the factory method, but yeah, okay. I think that's the plan. So um, this should be to prevent needing to model all of the no data stuff. This constructor should be internal, and then there should be a public factory method that give instances without needing the without um, that can give instances by creating its own instance of the also internal OData types, OData interface types. This factory method can be deprecated if needed once this constructor can be made public. It doesn't have to be deprecated, but it might make it easier to maintain as you expose new parameters on the OData constructed the OData interfaces. So what did that actually help me do? Um, that means is I can start implement is if I can implement this. Okay, so to implement this, so kind of made a mistake then in the order I did stuff. I did this query context stuff, but I really should have done the um, OData stuff first, or rather the graph stuff first. Mm, that's okay though. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna this query context extensions. That's just the mix-in stuff, right? And some other random things. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna keep all these things for now, actually. I'm pretty confident in this part, but until I can actually for sure do it. What's this? Is this used yet? Where? Hmm, only kind of. Look at this. So why does this need to implement that it's a query context? Uh, yeah, because most of the time what's going to happen is something like this where you've got the calendar events context is a where mix-in, where the thing that gets returned is the original thing, and because the T query context needs to implement iQuery context, then this also needs to implement iQuery context. But then again, it already does. I'm just gonna make a note. And I guess the other thing I'm trying to figure out is if this do I need to replace this in order to do all of these things? Um, you know what? I actually think the answer is yes. So I got to do both of these. I got to do both of these. Then I can do calendar events context. Um, no, I'm gonna do both of these, and I'm gonna migrate calendar events context to it. It's gonna sit in calendar v1. Then I'm gonna go ahead and update this thing. And when this is good and moved over to v2, then I can work on moving calendar events context to v2. Okay, that's what we're doing. Got it. So I got to make some decisions. Some of these are kind of hard decisions. First things first. We know, I know this is good. So I'm going to just go ahead and move that one over. Um, Move over here and do this. So I think this looks good. And now I still have a huge open question about if this is valuable. So I'm going to leave it be. But I am going to move the mix-ins over because I think those are pretty much where they need to be. I'm going to leave that to do for now. And otherwise, I think this looks good. And so now we need query context extensions. I ended up with a lot of things in the query context namespace, and I'm not sure that I like that. Like, I feel like I need maybe one or two more namespaces. Um, what we're gonna do. All right. I'm gonna put this on my other screen, which is gonna be confusing because now I'm gonna have a third one called query context extensions. Um, oh wait, are these query context extensions? Or are they? Yeah, I had to introduce the monad. Oh, there's just so much stuff, man. Okay, so man, I hate adding a bunch of hierarchies, but it doesn't really make sense without the context of where we're at. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Um, oh, to because then do I do like also query result node and stuff? Where am I drawing the line here? Uh, no, I'm gonna keep it flat for now, and I'll deal with it later. Uh, only query context monad. Okay. We need full unit. And note actually that I can't have anything else called unit that has four type parameters, um, even if they're entirely unrelated. Well, maybe this generic type constraint does something. Public delegate void unit 2, um, T1, T2, T3, T4. All right, but how about if I do this? Where T1 implements T2, T3, T4. Oh, it's because I called it unit 2 is why it's not conflicting. Okay, now we do have conflict. If I remove this, do we still have? Yeah, we still have a conflict. So uh, that's how they're disambiguated. So we probably this should be called a query context unit, I would guess. Um, let me also see this. Yeah, okay, it's not used anywhere else. So new query context unit. I've changed my mind. This goes here. And this goes here. Because I'm also gonna lose track of uh, what all I need to test and things like that. So we're in the monad. Monad. All right. So why is can what is this referring to? Oh, query context unit. Query context unit. All right. We're starting to get somewhere. Now we need dot monad. Is all that load up now? Not quite. Query context unit. Okay. I think it now is all compiling again. Yeah. Okay. So I gotta figure out how to. What's the keyboard shortcut for that? Full bracket S. Not sure I like that. Uh, I'll find a different keyboard shortcut. Um, in the meantime, what we're going to do, we've got our monad, our extensions here. We're actually on the monad where the query context of that monad is a where. Yeah. So this isn't query context extensions because there's not really much with the query context only that you can extend. Like I'm sure we'll discover some things as time goes on, but like you can evaluate. Congratulations. But like you can't really know that you can wear something or select something or anything like that um, without knowing more about the context, without knowing the concrete implementation. So uh, so like maybe there's a general purpose like error handling something or other. I don't know. That could be an extension on top of this, but like what we're doing right now with the wheres and with more of the link related queries, we're really doing extensions on the monad. So let's go ahead and add those here. Query context monad extensions. And now I'm gonna put this on my other screen so that I can start moving stuff over. So the way this is gonna work is there's a where. I'm gonna try and write it out so that I can explain it, which will help solidify it for me. So what are we returning? We're returning a monad. It would seem okay. So it would seem like we're returning um, a context, and in fact, a monad is a context. So we probably will end up, but let's go through all these things. Oh shoot, I need to make that note. Okay, so we're doing aware. T response. Where's response value error? And now here we do know that we need a monad because um, no, we don't know that yet. So I where text mixin, T response, T value, T error, T query context. We don't have a T query context yet, so let's add a T query context. T query context where query context makes sense. And now we need to say something about T query context. That is an I query context of T response, T value, T error. Um, so all that's great. All right. So now what we could do is return where. Oh, we need the predicate, which I'm just going to copy. We could just do this. um, However, the issue is that we are getting back a query context, which doesn't have a where. So if we public static void play, uh, say we're given a where query context mixin, uh, we say where query context where true where but now where it's a query context. We don't have a where on it anymore. So we need to return a where query context in order to be able to do that. Um, and that where query context, that's okay. It's going to have this uh, T query context. But this, um, okay, we're getting somewhere. Let's say it does that. And now heat, fascinating. So now, not really making any of my points very well right now. So where to? Um, Yeah, because I didn't do this. Okay, I was suspicious why that wasn't working, but there we go. So now we've got where'd, and we can call where to again on it. So this all kind of looks nice. But actually, the issue we now have is that this only returns a where. And so, what if we got something in that implemented both where and select? Um, so now instead of a where here, we have a concrete type that is both where and select. Well, once we've whered, we only knew that we could do a where, so we've only returned a whered, a where mixin. So now we can't call select anymore. Um, yeah. So that's what the problem is. So what we really need is for this to be the concrete type that we received. Um, However, the where is, oh, maybe that does work. Let's try it. Um, yeah, this only doesn't work because we have to pass these things in. T query context, T value, T error, T, I did it backwards. T response, T value, T error, T query context. So that's good. And then we just have to say the same thing here. And what we'll see is that this is still giving us back a T query context. So whatever the thing is that we received here. Um, so if it also implemented select, for example, we'd have select available to us still. So what's all this monad stuff that I'm doing over here? Let me think about that. Ah, well, where query context mixin dot where always true. Where to is where to dot where always false. This also works. Our extension method has provided nothing of value. That's why these are monad extensions. If all you wanted was to use the mixin, whatever your query context, calendar events context, for example, all you wanted to do was use this and do some wheres on it. You don't have to do anything else. So what's the benefit of this stuff? The benefit of this stuff that I'm trying to do here is to add a monad that lets you say things like, if you have a query context, let's some developer say, hey, if you, other developer, have a query context, I can help support that is aware mixin. I can help support you by doing smarter things. So I'm gonna wrap up your query context and do some better things. So for example, if you do a where and a concat, right? A where is distributive over a concat operation. So if someone calls where and then calls concat, or sorry, calls concat and then calls where, we can actually just distribute the where over the two things that were concatenated together. So we don't have to, that can sometimes have perf benefits or something. So that's sort of the use case. And so the monad is what lets us actually do that. Now, the thing is, I don't actually have a use for a monad in any of the calendar v1 stuff, if I remember right. So I'm tempted to not do it, but it's kind of important as a sanity check to have it in here. So I'm gonna do it anyway, I think. Yeah, okay. So this doesn't provide any value, so let's do aware 3. Query context, t response, t value, t error, where 3, t query context, t response, t value, t error. And this is going to be taking in a query context monad. So t response, t value, t error, monad. And then we take in what we get here. Let me open the where mixin back up too. So t value is the thing that I definitely need better names for that. So now here, where T query context defense, I where query context mixin, T response, T value, T error, T query context. So now what happens is um, whoops. What does happen? So now we can say monad.source.where of that predicate, and that's going to give us back a query context, but we needed a monad back. Yeah, what? So what I'm struggling with here is that oh, got it. Okay. What I was struggling with, if we look at the playground I had from before, um, these wares don't call this extension I created at any point. They just directly use this. And that's because the where mixin lets you do that. But what this is for, this isn't for when the extension, improved extensions thing, I need a better name for this concept, but the purpose of this where extension is not when this implements where. It's whenever it doesn't implement where, but its source does implement where. And there's a lot going on here. And it's so powerful, but I keep losing track of exactly what's happening. Okay. So we've got this, and we now we can't just return that, because we don't know that this, we need to wrap it in the monad. So monad.unit on that. I think I'm supposed to do this. Uh, I need to tell it the types maybe. Yeah. maybe that's a convenience overload that I need. So yeah, for those majority cases where um, these are the same, we can just use it directly. Cool. So now we should be able to use the extension. All right. Awesome. So this is what we're trying to implement here. And so let's see query context. So let's have voice started for play two. Um, query context monad, t query context, uh, t response, t value, t error, monad, uh, here, monad dot where query is now available. um, Whereas if this was just query context, T query context is I query context, which is what's required by the monad. T query context, T response, T value, T error. Um, we don't have where 3 available because the monad doesn't have anything that supports a where. Great. So we need to remove that stuff, and this part is what we are actually building. All right. A lot of silence today, a lot of thinking, not so much talking on my part, but I have to end the stream. So we will catch up another time. We'll continue from basically right here. This is exactly where we're at. And as I said, I don't actually need the monads at the moment, but they need to work in the future. So I need to flesh out at least a few of these just to make sure that they work. And then yeah, I can move past the monads and just do the mixins and do the calendar events context stuff. So